Okay, how's that? I'm back. All right, so yeah, I I was working on my game last week. I got back from my vacation Sunday, not this Sunday, not yesterday, but a week ago Sunday, week ago yesterday, um, and I got to work on more stuff. I had made some pretty good progress. Got a couple of things that were pretty significant done while I was on vacation because during driving paces I needed to fix a couple of things. A lot of them were dealing with importing uh, players and actually creating a player pool that I can start developing the game around those actual players in the game. Because I've gotten a lot of the other stuff in place, it's time to start having players that I can build a game and actually start making those functions do their thing with players from the game, which I'm moving on to the next step. But along the way, I've been kind of getting in the habit of using my new tool, ClickupLink, which is an extension that I can install into VS Code, which I've made compilable, and I actually have it available if anybody's interested. But I noticed a couple of bugs and quirks, or tweaks, bugs and issues, call them that. Quirks. That's not twerks, quirks that I wanted to fix. And so yeah, maybe it's good that nobody's really downloaded it yet or asked to use it. That's because it's quite possible it wasn't ready. It's not ready for prime time, but it's getting there. It's getting really close. I've been using it. I'm enjoying using it. It is really nice to have it, be able to put my project items right there in my code with me. I get to work. I get to tell it what state I'm in, and then like I said, I started finding a couple things. One issue I put in that really wasn't even affecting me, but I knew could kind of affect things. For example, um, if I create a new bug or a new task, um, if somebody were to edit it, me or anyone else, go edit the title, edit the contents, edit the status, anything from within ClickUp or through another project that updated ClickUp, whatever, my code would never show it. It just wouldn't pick up those changes unless, in fact, no, it was not updating it because what it was doing was it was storing the information for the reference. So when you created the task in the first place, it would go out to ClickUp, get all the information, and store all that, which made for very fast, reasonably fast loading along the way when you came in. But the speed at which it goes and gets stuff from ClickUp is really just about connecting, and it's really pretty dang fast. I mean, we're talking about it doesn't. It's pretty. I won't say negligible. You're still dealing with the network and internet, but it was pretty quick. But the thing is, I wasn't doing that. So if you made changes, it would never update. Even if you clicked on ClickUp, go make a change, come back. Even if you hit refresh, it wouldn't do it because it would just pull it from its local memory or local storage. And I said, well, that's not going to work. What if Joe Blow somewhere else changes the status? Now you could go change the status, but then you might just override what somebody already changed because you don't have the right status anymore. So that wasn't good. So I decided to go update that. So that's one I fixed. There's actually a number of things I did to make things work. Okay, so more and more I started building my functionality around the tags. Okay, so the tags that I put in for ClickUp are these things. These are the ClickUp tags. You can just type one in and it'll load the reference straight to ClickUp, just like this. Okay, if you know the tag number. But it also works good if you just want to copy and paste um, you want to move it somewhere else. Like say you say, I don't want this function here no more. So you'll copy all the code from that function and put it somewhere else. Well, if you take the ClickUp tag with it, it'll take the reference with it. So it'll get moved and navigate with your with the tag. Or if you add new code above or new code, um, or you delete code above, whatever it is, now that ClickUp tag moves and so goes the reference with it. So basically the reference is tied to these tags. And every time you add a new one, it'll go build a new reference and put it in place. But now I've got it set up where it's only storing the ID. It's no longer storing the whole reference. So if you make a change and you refresh, it'll get whatever's latest. And whenever you reload the code, it'll get the latest. Or if you just want to see if anybody's make a change, it gets the latest. So one of the things it's not doing though is doing it on a timer or any kind of interval, which has its drawbacks. For example, if you're working on a team, for me in Wabio it doesn't make any difference at all, right? Because I make changes, it's just going to be there, right? It's going to eventually, it's going to show up, and then on my changes, effect right away. But if someone else were to make a change, or someone else was, if you're working on a team that's working with this stuff, you want to see what changes they made. If you want to see what changes they made, you want it to show up on your code. Like say you're working on a function and now this is bad team management, by the way. If you're working on a team and everybody's just free-for-alling fixing bugs, and you're working on fixing a bug and they fixed it already. Somebody else jumped in there, fixed it already. Maybe they were working on it yesterday, or maybe they figured out a quicker way, or whatever it is, they fixed it. But you're still cranking away on it because your thing, you know, as far as you're concerned, still says to do and it's assigned to you. Well, Joe Blow might have changed that. He might have said it's completed and it's assigned to me. You want that to pop up on your screen. I mean, that's the whole point, right? I mean, it's going to refresh and it'll say, oh, now Joe Blow completed. And you'd be like in the middle of your code change. You're like, Joe, hello. Why are you fixing my bug? It was assigned. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't assign it. It still says unassigned. Never mind. No, but I mean, even so, if I had changed the assigned, it would change it in ClickUp. But because of the lack of refresh, he would never have known I was working on it. Unless you change it in ClickUp and when he loaded. It depends, you know, if you guys are both already, if your app's already loaded or if it never changed. So these are the scenarios under which I decided, yeah, we need to make sure this refreshes. So I don't have a timer set up, so I'm going to add one. Basically, I just want to add like maybe every minute, every 30 seconds. It does a refresh. Maybe I even need to add a setting that says something like set refresh timer. This way, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll set a refresh timer that runs the task refresh, and that will allow it to update periodically. I mean, do you really need to do it every 20 seconds? Probably not. Every 30 seconds? Probably not. But you want it to happen frequently enough that you're going to pick up those things before you get too far in work. So maybe every hour is a little long, but you might want to set it at 30 seconds or a minute. I'm thinking a minute's probably good. I'll probably set it by default at a minute, and you can make it faster. If you've got a big team and you're all just cranking bugs out, probably a good idea that you set that and have it refresh for people as quickly as possible. But that's, if you got a small, tiny team, you might set it to max time, like a minute. I think a minute's good. I don't feel like it causes any problems. I mean, I don't see why it would. I don't know. I guess if I ran into issues, I'll have to fix that. But let's go ahead and we'll say, I might just set a minute timer and we'll go from there. I don't like a minute because it's too hard to test. It's like I have to wait a minute to see if it's going to refresh. And I don't really care for that. But let's go Alt-CU. Let's add a new one. No, this is kind of a feature thing because this is not really a bug, but I do kind of want it. So let's say new features, and we're going to say feature, and we'll just say refresh timer with setting in settings pane. Refresh timer with setting in settings pane. Okay, sure. Oh, I did it wrong again. I don't know if there's a better way to do this. I actually have to say create new list. Then I can put this in. Oops, you know what? Am I adding? Is that actually that might not work. Hold on. Just because the way I set up my project, this is a thing. All right, let's go try that again. So if I say new features, feature test item. Oh yeah, let's just say I gotta have a feature category like feature settings, and then I have I did it again. I gotta remember to click this. That is kind of a thing. I don't know if there's a way to to change how that responds. Might not, because I need to have this do its thing. we'll say here, item, add setting to settings, add, refresh, and refresh, interval, settings, oh, did I do it again? I did it again. Stop doing that. Hit create task. All right. I don't need a lower level task. If you do that, you could just hit escape or hit cancel, and it'll use the main task, and it puts in the new task, and there we go. Add settings with setting page task. Okay. So things are kind of working now. One of the issues of bugs that I had to fix, that I mentioned, I also had bugs. I couldn't change my tasks. I wasn't changing them. Okay, so the original version of this was built heavily with AI. And it's mostly because I had no idea how to do any of this. It's working with TypeScript, which prior to this little tool, I barely knew TypeScript. I mean, I know JavaScript a little because I've been doing a lot with React, which is still React JavaScript, which is not exactly just straight up JavaScript. It's, you know, Java, React's framework built around it. And so, yeah, I've been learning a lot of different things. And apparently, in order to make a lot of my stuff, this is what AI went with. It went with TypeScript. So now I had built a lot of it with TypeScript. There was a lot of learning, a lot of figuring out how it works. Plus, it had to tie into ClickUp, which it knows the ClickUp object model. Fantastic. It got me in there and got all the things plugged in. And I was like, yes. And it got me a lot of stuff going. I built this thing in about a week. But it had some bugs. And overall, lately, I've been kind of learning and understanding how it's built, where it's built. I still don't fully know all the syntax. I understand that. But I'm learning enough that I am able to get AI to get me the pieces and parts I need in place, like the functions and the methods and the syntacticals of how those are laid out. And I can still identify what the parameters are, the functions, the loops, the methods, what's calling what. I can see all that. I understand all that stuff. That's easy. That's developer one. That's developer. I won't say it's developer 101. I mean, I have a lot of experience in development. It's not that hard to do once you start understanding kind of the flow of things, what you're going for. You know, you learn to step through the code, which apparently I got working, at least with TypeScript. I couldn't get it to work in other things, but at least it's working here, which helped a lot. So I could step through, find out what's going on. So I fixed and cleaned up a lot of these bugs. I've got the okay, so I created a couple of new ones. Okay, so this is complete now. You can see unable to change existing task reference, which would basically mean I'd click on one of these, select a different task, and it would just update. It wasn't, and it was having errors and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? Ultimately, when you have AI do some things, AI doesn't, it's not smart enough to do reuse. I have a perfectly good functional process that updates based on the tag. You put a tag in, it finds a tag, it puts a reference in. Done. Easy peasy. I can add a new one right now. I copy and paste it, bam, it appears. So that functionality already exists. So why on earth do we need to like create some new functionality? And it was doing a lot of complicated stuff. It would build a task and it was trying to read tasks and build its own references again. It's like, no, we don't need to build it again. I've already got the code that does that. So put the tag in, it builds the tag. So basically all I did is say, we'll change this code to just change the tag. Delete the old tag, put in a new tag. Boom, triggers the new one. It's pretty dang quick. It's clean. It reduces my code a lot because I don't have all this other garbage going on. I don't need to fire events or do anything. I just change the tag. Boom, it refreshes. Good. So that's working. But there's a couple of items that are still kind of wonky. So for example, if I hit refresh here, I'm gonna hit refresh because now I've added some. Notice how it didn't update, and I don't have a refresh interval. If I had a refresh interval, this would have updated already because it's over a minute. So we're gonna add a refresh interval. Also, if you add things, make sure you hit save. It's not in here. It's not permanent until you hit save. These are code changes like anything else. You put this in your code. You want to save, hit save. So now it's in there. It's like this one here is just my other test to prove that I can move things to and from other places, or I can just have another file that's working. If I want to make it do something, I could hit Control S here and close this. And so now it's there if I want it to be. It's just another test file. All this whole function, this whole app thing here is just another test file. It's just all a big test project. It's the extension development host. So everybody needs an extension development host. Now you might wonder, hey, I've seen you working on ActiveMind Gamer lately. How come you're not doing this there? Because this is ClickupLink. It's not the game. I'm going to try to keep just the game development on ActiveMind Gamer. All my other development, I'm going to try to keep on AM Games Dev. And occasionally I'll put up new videos and new stuff here on AM Games Dev related specifically to the work I'm doing that sometimes I'm streaming on ActiveMind Gamer, just so that there's some carryover and you have some fixed videos, and maybe the ones on AM Games Dev will be the fancy pants ones. I don't know, fancy pants, the edited ones. We'll see. But anyway, let's see if I can get a couple of these knocked out. I don't think any of these are that hard. I will have to, what I'll probably do for things that build new structure, new functionality, or even simple functionality, I'll probably just work with AI again. Let it try to implement a refresh process. And I have noticed lately that I already know what functions work, and I just tell AI, look, use this function, implement a setting in the settings method that allows me to, that will run this periodically and let me set the value in seconds or something from this, from the settings menu. I think there's a way to do that. These settings menus are pretty, they're like links. You click them, they execute code. So I don't know how it's going to trigger. It's probably going to be something that goes up here. I'll probably click it. It'll pop up here and say interval time in seconds. And I'll put in 30 seconds, 60 seconds. You can do 60, 90, 120, whatever you want. But like I said, I'll probably set it to 1 in my actual games or actual projects. But by default, it'll be 1. So maybe I'll just leave it. I don't know. But if I want it to be faster, I can set the interval. Or you can just hit refresh yourself if you want it to be faster. There's no reason to wait. But anyway, so the other item you'll see here is I have if tag is moved, delete from task pane doesn't work. So that's me saying, okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about here. So I hit refresh on this. This is going to load up all of my things. I have 4 here. I got 1 here. Everything's there. It's and if you click on any of these, it'll take you to each of those blocks. See, it's highlighting the item. However, if I do something like this, now we're totally broken. I click on this, it doesn't know where these things are. It is taking me straight to those same old lines, but it didn't refresh unless I hit refresh. This is where a refresh interval comes in. It could, you might want to update it, because what's going to happen is if I go have it refresh itself and then I try to hit delete, this is not going to do anything because it's not going to be able to find the function. It's going to go, what? So that's where if tag is moved, delete task doesn't work. So that's what I mean. I need to have the delete function run the refresh so that it makes sure it gets all the right things, and then run the delete so that it's on the right task. Probably before it gets the line number. So that's what I need to do. That's that one. This one is reference tags not loading correctly at startup. Okay, so this is a whole nother thing. There's something weird going on at startup. Every now and then I'll hit start. That's the extension will start, and 2 or 3 will load. Sometimes all of them will load, but then they vanish, and then nothing's there. So there's something definitely bizarre going on there, which is strange because I have a perfectly good loading process that once that's done, I can hit refresh. Boom, they all load. No questions asked. So whatever is happening at initialization is not the same as what happens at refresh, because refresh just works. So again, I think that's going to be a pretty simple fix. These are all set up in my less than a day to fix things. I think I can get them all working, I hope. And then this one is me creating the setting, add refresh interval with settings pane. So we're going to refresh interval. We're going to deal with the startup, and we're going to adjust this prior to hitting like delete, because that's really the only thing. If I want it, I mean, I don't. So you can see these show you what line they're on, and that doesn't update. I don't know how else to trigger it. I mean, there are things that I can do. I'm trying to think what I want to. Do I have an inner key? Because changing, it'd be nice. I'm trying to determine what the easiest way to do that is. Okay, so do I have it do it every time I hit a carriage return? Anytime I hit carriage return, it just does it. But carriage return could also be, what about delete? Delete doesn't do anything unless you delete a carriage return. Or if you dump a bunch of code at once, or you add a bunch of code at once. You know, you do a copy paste. That doesn't carriage return anything. It just inserts code. So it's not great. I don't know. I mean, if the lines on a document change, the number of lines change, is there a way to have it refresh at that time? Let's see if there's a way. If I can check if line numbers change, or line count changes on a document, that would be a good time to refresh. Yeah, let's go see. That might be all right. Well, we'll do that. All right. So if taglines move, that's the first one. So let's see if we can do something simple on that. I'm going to leave this open for now. I'll have to close it before I can do any testing of future tasks. But let's go here. Oh, wrong one. So we're just going to go new. Oh, by the way, a lot of things are working right now. Let's check these in. We're going to say fixed inability to change tests. Well, change tasks assumes they were pre-existing. The word change kind of says it all, right? Let's say there we go. Let's get it out. Make sure we don't lose any of our updates. So anything I do in the future is going to be good. First of all, we'll do a question here. Is it possible to watch for a line count change on a document? If so, I would like to trigger the, pretty sure, what is this called again? I think it's refresh task references. Refresh task references. Console log. So, you know, it's funny. If I go here and hit refresh, why can't I never... Oh, task reference is refreshed. Oh. I may have to start doing everything through that stupid output. Because it's the only thing I can get that actually logs. I don't like doing it that way. Why can't I just do debug? Debug console never shows anything. It's like stupid. What the heck? Debug console, only the console.log output works. There's got to be some setting I've got broken. I don't know what it is. If you know the answer to what I've got broken, that nothing goes into my debug console, let me know. Because all these console.logs, none of them ever show up. They just don't happen. Only these output channel dot append line actually seem to do anything. And I can prove that by simply changing the text and say this one has different text, but for now. All right, so we're going to click up link. So is this my... Let's register the command. Add command to refresh the task reference history. Show progress indicator since this might take a while. Oh, I guess this is it. This is weird. It's funny how some functions are set up differently than others. That's just calling the command. All right. And then it has the code here. I think sometimes it has a function and sometimes it builds it in. And I think that's, again, this is an AI thing. Sometimes it built it in, sometimes it creates a separate function. I think that's why it's throwing me off, because it's didn't do it that way. Okay. So there is a call to it here. Question, is it possible to watch for line count change on a document? If so, I would like to trigger the refresh task reference command. Whenever that active, whenever any document line count increases or okay, so it's taking a look. I assume there's a way, or it would just tell me there's no way. Or it'll say, unfortunately, you can't easily count the line counts, blah, 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 blah. But it didn't say that, so there must be a way to do it. The interesting thing is, I don't know what's triggering when I add a task. So there's something watching for me to add a task. So that might be just a... Listen for document changes to detect line count changes. Now there's some kind of a watch happening. All right, let's see if this compiles. Because it does break compile sometimes, so we'll see. If it gets around the compile problem. It's actually, AI is actually pretty good at failing TypeScript. It makes mistakes with TypeScript a lot. So it's saying it did it. We'll try it out. Okay, so before I test, I know that when I add a new anchor tag for a task, it seems to immediately load the new task reference. So it is watching for that change. Is there a way to just enhance I don't think it's a big enough change. I mean, warrant. See what it says. I'm actually, like I say, I hate rebuilding code or doing stuff that's. And so it's got to go learn every time you ask it. It's not, it says, oh, now I understand. But you could ask it a question 10 minutes later and it'll be like, I don't know, let me look. It's like, you just said you understood. Well, that was 10 minutes ago. It's a different question. doesn't remember how things work. The on-did change text document event is used to detect document changes. Ref position manager scans documents for ClickUp markers and updates reference positions. Purge orphaned references on save is used to clean up references that are no longer in the document. You're right that we can enhance the existing function rather than creating an entirely new mechanism. Let me modify the code to better integrate with existing systems. It's only got 2 little changes, which is, this actually makes it very simple. 2 changes is pretty good, and it's still doing this on did change text document though. On did open text document. It's only 2. It just added. It added this stuff and added this stuff. Didn't really change anything. It just added some checks and then triggered more code. Track document lines to detect changes. Listen for document changes to update reference positions. Only process if this document has task references or line count changes. And then track open documents, initial line counts. Clean up closed documents from the line count map. Alright, let's see what it does. I think it's not bad. Alright, so we'll close this. And then we're going to go here. Just run it again. It did compile, so that's a big one. Hopefully we'll be able to knock one of these bugs off here. Let's see. One's a feature, one's a bug. This is a bug. This should not be happening. Now, so this is what I'm telling you. The on load doesn't work. So you say we're back to ClickupLink. That's not loaded. It'll eventually go refreshed stuff, and that means it's theoretically calling my refresh process. But things don't always load. Give it a moment. It's still loading workspace, which I'm not sure what it's doing with workspace, why it takes so long. But once that loads, we're pretty much ready to go. It should say refreshing. There it goes. Refresh 5 tasks. Bam, they're there. 3, 2, 1. Okay, wow. It's going to be dumb on me right now. Apparently it's going to load them. Hey man, I don't know why. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. But right now we should have these all set correctly. So we're going to go here. There's something weird about the way things load, for sure. All right, so we're here. So now, in theory, my new features, I delete this. And nothing happened, I don't think. I don't think anything happened. Because this, when you refresh, this usually vanishes. Yeah, we're all out of whack. That did nothing. Nothing, I say. What if I hit save? I think save has other triggers, though, that might update it. But I might be wrong, too. Save only clears orphan tasks. I'm not even sure how I end up with orphan tasks anymore. I put in some code that kind of prevents orphan tasks, but yeah, nothing works. We are not. Well, one of them lined up only because it landed on top of one, but that's like totally not the same one, so we don't want that. Okay, so that didn't work. Whatever you did there, my friend, didn't work. Nope, that did not work. Nothing happens when I delete or add one to the code. I would expect my references. Let's just see what it says. I'll give it a chance. I oftentimes, if something 100% does not work, I've been known to undo the code and just say, try again. Because I don't want it to keep trying to glue stuff on top of previous things. It does do that sometimes, where it'll like, oh, well, let me do this. And it'll fix, but it won't get rid of its previous problems. It'll just go, oh, well, let me do this, or let me do that. And it's, that's not good, right? That doesn't help me. And so I end up with spaghetti code. I end up with these things that were basically either overwritten or forgotten or whatever. So I oftentimes will just go delete it all and just put in the change. Because once it solves it, oftentimes I'll just like, okay, that works. Now get rid of all of the stuff that was unrelated. I don't want to do that. So oftentimes I'll just ask the question again, tell it what the problem was, and I will undo what it did. I'll just say, I undid all your code. It did nothing. It didn't solve it. Try again. I'll tell. And this way I start with a fresh code. This is why I like to check in any working stuff I have right before I start a new task, because it'll start editing and changing code, and I want to make sure I don't wipe anything out. That works, because I had to do a lot of the fixes manually for the last batch full stuff, because it couldn't figure it. It refused to reuse my documents, for one thing. No, force a complete refresh of references for a document. No, what are you doing? No, you're reusing. No, stop creating functions. See? Nope. There is already a function that can do the refresh. Don't want duplicate functionality. As you did with refresh document references. Just use the refresh task references command code. It already knows how to scan the document to update the task. I mean, I'm trying to keep it as simple for it to do its thing. All it needs to do is check for line count, call the thing. That's all it's got to do. It's a simple task, but it feels like it's doing a lot of stuff, right? Clean up closed documents from line count map. Initialize line counts for all currently open documents. I mean, it's not a lot of code, but it's still, it feels like a lot of stuff going on here, doesn't it? I mean, and why is it only on initialize? That's another thing. Why is it only on initialize? I don't know if I like this. Let's see if I know what it's doing, and maybe I could just pin the parts that matter. Update the line count. Oh, is it still working? Is it simplifying? Oh, it did simplify it, so it's definitely shorter now. And it did get rid of that. Initialize line counts for all currently open documents. That's fine. Clean up closed documents from the line count. Oops. You left me buggy. You know what? It's really, AI struggles with TypeScript. It does. It'll oftentimes see like 1 or 2 bugs and it just doesn't know how to fix them. It really does struggle with it sometimes. Sometimes. It doesn't do it all the time. Sometimes it figures it out. Thing is, it's also really bad at reading its own. I don't know what it is. It can't read the terminal, or it got stupid somewhere along the line. It can't read the terminal anymore. I don't know if it's a new Copilot. It's one of the most recent Copilot updates. But like if it says run compile and there's problems, it'll go, oh, great, it succeeded in compiling. I'm like, no, it didn't. Did you not see the 5 errors that just appeared? Oh, sorry, my apologies. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry for the confusion. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and see if it got any closer with this change. If not, I'll probably have to step through the code it did, because I know it's probably got the right idea somewhere, but it's like not calling it at the right time. It's not putting it in the right places. You can't let it drag you down a rabbit hole, because it will drag you down a rabbit hole. AI is great. It loves its rabbit holes. It'll keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, and it'll just scramble your code. That's why I say save, 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 because then you won't know what to undo if you do not save. See how that says remove 0 duplicate references? And notice how this time it's, what the heck is it doing? Refresh task grid. Whoa, it is doing a lot of weird stuff. See, this is, I don't know what it's doing. I don't even know why it's doing this on initialize. This should not even be happening at initialize. But it's in some kind of a loop. It totally broke it. Okay, totally. I get it. Go away. Nope, we're stopping. Nope. Die. Die. No, stop. I don't know what it did. It totally crapped out. All right, that's nope, that didn't work. All right, let's see what it's doing to capture the line count. Because really, what I need to do, there's got to be some kind of a trigger or event. Refresh the latest ClickUp data. So there is a thing that's checking for a new. So there's a thing that checks for new lines, right? For new comment tags. So what I needed to do is look for the comment tags as it was, but also while it's looking for comment tags, look for line changes. That's all it's got to do. It's just wherever it looks for line comment tags, it should just also look for. So we're gonna undo this, because obviously all that broke. Nope. Undid all your changes, as that just created an endless loop. All right, so I'm gonna, you can see it's doing, it's got its try catch, it's going down into the individual things. All this stuff functions, right? Refresh from ClickUp with options. Now this is the refresh action, which should work. But the problem isn't that this doesn't work. The problem is that it's not triggering when it's supposed to, right? So what I needed to do is, we do need to store line counts. Maybe there's a better way to do this. It's doing something to find. All right. I thought it'd be easy just to say, look for line count changes. Boom, run refresh. easy peasy lemon squeezy. We don't do anything else. But the refresh needs to store what the line count changes were. So maybe it's just on text change. We look to see if any of the references are invalid. Check, validate references maybe. Let's try something else. So rather than check for line count change, perhaps just add a check, a validate references function. I don't already have a validate references, right? Validate. No validate function. Validate and clean references. Validate the response. First validate the auth service. Validate and clean. Okay, so this is what this is doing. Validate and clean reference. Removed file with no valid references. What is this function? It's just, it's not really a function, right? What is this? Clickup fix URI issues. Huh. Validate references function that checks the range line value of each task reference in the tasks pane. And if a corresponding anchor tag is not there, call what is the name of it? Oh, refresh task references. Refresh task references. And there is a function that says find anchor. Is it find? Find anchor. Nope, not find anchor. Something anchor. Pretty sure it's find. Just don't remember what the function was I was calling it and what the exact name it is. I thought it was find anchor. Get anchor. That's the panel. Task reference. Refresh, because the first thing we have to do, clear, complete. Oh wait, what did I just fix? Change task. Let's go there, because that'll get me there. Oops. Kind of dumb, but I can't remember where everything is. And we go down here and it's update anchor tag. That's going to be where it's at. And we do a remove anchor and create anchor. So wait, none of these actually go find anchor. So remove anchor must find the anchor, because there isn't a Sheesh. Oh, here it is. Remove anchor. Okay, so first look for the ClickUp anchor tag near the reference position. See, it's got to find it at that line. But we don't. That's only if it's, so we're doing a find. So removing anchor just goes and looks for it, but it has to be at that position, which it won't find. But what is the... Create output channel. Look for a ClickUp marker near the reference position. This is where it's going to go try to find it. So honestly, I know this is remove ClickUp anchor, but this is first look for create an output channel for debugging, look for ClickUp marker. Marker info, found ClickUp marker at line. Okay, and then create edit to remove the entire line from the ClickUp tag. This stuff should be in its own function that we can just say find anchor. And then if we break that out into its own thing, we can then edit it, right? So vscode.workspace edit constant line range equals vscode.range marker info.line 0 marker. Okay, so we're going to get whatever marker info is. Marker info is supposed to come back here. And what does this return? So obviously returns whatever marker info is. Document.range, and what we're passing in here, URI reference task ID. I would like to not search with the remove ClickUp anchor. This way I can find tags using this functionality. And this could be, all right, so let's go ahead and try this. I'm gonna just say, you know, let's see if I can do this without AI. So we're going to go ahead and we're gonna go, where are we? Task reference, okay. Create anchor, I don't want to create an anchor. That's update anchor, which we're not doing either. I just want to make sure I don't have something already that's kind of close. Nope. Nope. Remove anchor, nope. And what is this up here? That's delete task reference, which is not it either. All right, so we're going to create one called find anchor. And since I don't know syntax very well in TypeScript yet, I'm going to copy this one because it already kind of sort of exists. Go down here. I mean, I'll have to delete a bunch of junk out of it because, like I said, I understand flow and what's going on here. Find ClickUp anchor. No, I'm just going to call find ClickUp anchor. I don't need to call. I don't know what near position is. It's like it's there or not. Or I can do like a, I don't know, but whatever, it's going to be this. All right, so we're going to have the same values, and then up here, what we're going to do is we're just going to pass in whatever this needs to function. Try, open the document, constant document, const editor. We don't need, see what, we need the URI. Document we don't need. Blah, 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 blah. Reference is that value. So we have the URI and the reference. Okay, so we have create an output channel for debugging. Fine. ClickupLink debug. I mean, I guess you can create, see, I think the problem is it keeps creating these output channels, so I have a bunch of them. And then I don't know which one it is, because this create output channel, ClickupLink debug, is created in multiple places, so then you have to go click on each one and find out what is it. It's like it creates one for each rather than just using the one. That would make it a lot easier if it would just put it all in one. So yeah, I don't know how to fix that. I mean, I don't know where to put a valid ClickUp create output channel, or, you know, so that it just works and it's always the same one. Because obviously creating multiple output channels, like if I do this and go like that, you can see that it's doing create, and they're all the same. ClickupLink debug. So if I go to ClickupLink debug in my output channels and I go, well, I have to open it, but it creates it and then it drops them in there, which is fine if I know which one I'm looking at. But not my favorite. There's got to be a way to do it. I mean, like, I'd have to rename them, which might be good too. I can call it, you know, anchor. The thing is, I don't know which one I'm using on any given time. It would always have to go to the same one, and then I have to know, well, because like if I, none of these, and like, what if you don't have a, well, you have to create one and then add it. So this would be like find, ClickUp find anchor. I just wish there was a better way that would globally create one, so I didn't have to keep dumping stuff in. I don't know. There's probably a way. I don't know what it is yet. If there was a way I could do it, and then do I have to pass the output channel around though? Then I have to pass it to everything so I could use it? I don't know. Don't know enough about how that works. Live and learn, right? But for now, I guess I just live with it. For now, let's actually just call it what it is. If I have to do it, let's at least use ClickUp. Find ClickUp anchor debug. This way I can create that one. Anything it puts in there is going to go right where it says. All right, so output channel append, attempting to find ClickUp anchor for task blah, add line blah, look for ClickUp marker near the reference. I don't know what that does exactly, but it's probably doing the same basic thing. Maybe there's some check or locational thing. I don't know. And then we go, if marker info found, let's see, I can do this. Create edit to remove the entire line. So I don't need to remove anything. We're not doing any of that here. Apply this edit. Output channel removed. We don't need any of that. Failed to remove ClickUp anchor from document. Don't need that, because if we have an error, we can say failed. I'm not going to say failed to find, but we do need to have an error saying something like I'm going to take this out. And we will put it right here. So I can use it. Because like I said, these console errors don't work. I haven't been able to get any of the console stuff to function correctly. I can go to debug console. It's empty almost all the time. For whatever reason, nothing is going to the console. And I kind of looked and tried to find how to make that work. I was unsuccessful. It just didn't want to. It doesn't want to add it. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. Again, if you know how to get things going to the debug console, in this scenario, TypeScript and whatever, because it does kind of work in my other apps, but it doesn't work here. So there's something funky about this app versus others, but I don't know. If I click on Anchor, debug. All right, so we're gonna try catch, and then we'll just do, since I have this. Does that work? Can I add comment delimited stuff? No. Is there a multi-argument option? No. No, okay. So that doesn't work. We'll have to do something like, doesn't like it. All right, so we did that. Why doesn't it like it? Oh, that's right. When you do that, you have to use tildes. All right. Hopefully that'll at least output the error. Okay, so we should have everything we need, but what I also need to do is figure out how to return. So what does this one do under return? 'Cause I have to figure out what that does. I have to learn my TypeScript. Return null. But there are returns, I imagine, that actually have a value in them. Return. Oh, okay. So you don't, do I not? I don't have to identify what I'm returning. Oh wait, no, this is it. Never mind. Line match comment style. Line match comment style. Okay, so that's how I determine what I'm returning. Check current line. 3 lines above and 1 line below. I don't know why we're doing this, to be honest. I don't like the kind of search around kind of feel. I mean, I guess it kind of sort of gives it a chance to work if it's not updated. I'd rather it be updated. This allows for kind of a squishy change. But it's still not right, because when it goes to go link to it, it doesn't actually give you the correct line number, right? It's kind of weird. This is an AI thing, and it added this little for loop that says, hey, let's look for this at, you know, above or below, whatever. And then it says, all right, well, we're going to find the line count. I don't know even know if it'll work. I haven't tried to see if it finds it when it's, so far my experience has been it fails to find things. So I don't know how it's doing that. Sort lines to check closest line first. Check each line for Clickup tag. And then it goes through each line that I just created. Create a fresh regex instance for each line to avoid stateful issues with last index. Found marker match at line blah. But it's returning this info thing, which I'm going to go ahead and so we're here, find ClickUp anchor. So we're going to go, I'm just going to do that, and then we'll I think I just want to make sure I do this the same way because I don't know what I'm doing. It says document range static. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I guess I'll do the same thing. So just to be consistent, I'm going to make it look the same so I can see what I'm doing. And then this one doesn't have a promise, or but it does say, so what I'm going to try is take that out. Does it have to be async? Oh, it has to be async. Let's just see what happens if I say static. I may have to have AI fix my problem. We're going to try and do this without async. It'll probably say you need async, but then I will do do I want to return the same stuff? I don't know if this line, if we're basically just creating duplicate work. I may actually just be creating duplicate work. In other words, redundancy. I'm not a fan of it, but it doesn't have the same values, and I'm basically, I mean, it was redundant work to begin with. It was in the delete anchor, and I don't want the find to be part of the delete anchor or remove anchor. So that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid here. So we're going to call the same thing, except once we're done here, we'll say same one, and we'll return that. And if there's no ClickUp anchor, that should, what, so I just say null here? All right. So if we get our information back, we'll respond. We'll send it back. If not, it'd be null. Otherwise, we'll do error because that's what we're going to do. All right, so we have that. In theory, I didn't break anything. he says in theory. Okay, so now I can go up here. And instead instead we'll do that. We don't need this anymore. Create, edit to remove entire line with ClickUp tags. We're going to go ahead and do that, edit, delete, apply the edit. Done. Okay, so this is basically going to do its own thing, but I want to see, we have to create this range thing. And we are passing it in, and we are still using document, which is created up here. Oh, okay. So if I'm passing in document, I don't need it in my new one. I don't need to create it here. I'm just using oh wait, do I? Oh wait, maybe I need different stuff here. So I just need document range to go in there, and I already have. Honestly, I'm not sure totally that I'm not making duplicate effort here. If I still need all this stuff, oh, because I'm just calling it out. I guess the only thing I really need to do is know what I'm calling here. Find ClickUp marker near position. I just don't want this guy doing anything he doesn't need to do. And I guess that's what find ClickUp marker near position is doing. Because I still need my range. So what code am I saving by doing it this way? I may have just done a redundant effort. I think I may have done a redundant effort, because if I go find ClickUp anchor here and I do document range, the only thing that requires is that does all the finding. So what I probably just need to do is call that instead of worrying about this. And this is actually keeping it down, because I have range, and then range is required, you know, when we go here. And it's arc info line, Marco info line. And then we have range down here, which is what it's going to do. No ClickUp anchor found. I could change this to ClickUp anchor, ClickUp anchor not found. We'll just say not found, because the line part is about finding it with the function. Removed ClickUp anchor. We don't need this, because I have other comments that'll take care of that. Remove ClickUp anchor not found. Remove ClickUp anchor. I don't think I need to say at line here, but it might be helpful to go, oh, well, it's not looking in the right line. That'll also tell me if there's some other bug going on. Okay, so find ClickUp anchor. So I am thinking I may have just redundantized all of my stuff because I'm just basically copied all the code here and called this function and gave it messages. It's almost like this is just a message wrapper around this. And if that's all I'm doing, I shouldn't need to do this whole function. So that was probably bad. I don't like the name of this, to be honest, though. All right, well, live and learn. It's me. I may still change the name of this. I just like it to be called Find ClickUp Anchor. Wait, it's not, is that the only place it's used? Is to remove it? Huh. I gotta try and do something here. Huh. Okay. Then I can change the name at my will. At my whim. All right. So it's going to be called Find ClickUp Anchor, which goes more in line with all the other stuff because it's really just finding the anchor. That's it. I don't need it to be say at position, blah 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 blah. Near position implies that yeah, it's gonna try to find it close if it can't find it otherwise, but whatever. I don't think it. Honestly, I don't know if it works that way, and I'm not sure I even want it to. Seems weird to have it just randomly looking for stuff. If it fixes the lines along the way, I don't need that, right? If it just says, oh, well, let's fix that. And if I make Find ClickUp Anchor smart enough it stops looking, check current line, 3 lines above and 1 line below. Current line. For I equals lines to check. I'm not doing that. We're just going to call it current line. Current line, console. What is it? Line of lines to check. Line. You know what? I'm just going to take current line. I just want it to look where it's supposed to be, and then if it's not there, we're gonna just fix it. The whole point is to try to keep it in sync, and if it's not where it's supposed to be, I don't want it to be trying to guess. I know it might be a little bit more robust to do it this way, but it's also kind of weird. I don't want it to go, oh, well, we found it there. We don't need to refresh anything, because that's not right. It's not finding it where it's supposed to be. For the purposes of a removal, yes, but that's not, yeah, I just rather delete it from its supposed place. I don't want to make any mistakes with that. So we're going to take current line, and we're going to replace line down here, which is right there. Don't want to change range.start because we're just going to say current line, and I can get rid of, well, I don't want to get rid of the try catch, but and then we already have current line, but we're not doing this lines to check thing. sometimes AI, I don't know, it just, it does, what do I want to say, overthink it. I mean, I get it. It's probably maybe a little bit more robust at times, but it's also a little just, I like to know when something's not working. That's how I want to do it. I don't like approximations in code, you know, let's fix it kind of in this area. Now, I get it that there's some times when you kind of need a padded area, right? Because maybe you know for a fact it could shift a little bit all the time, you know, on a standard norm. But also, you can't say it's on line whatever and then have it find it on a different line. You know, then don't say it's on a line. Just click it and then say, okay, we're going to go find this tag somewhere. Honestly, I prefer something along the lines of just it goes out and finds a tag. So this is find ClickUp anchor, but it is not finding. This is just finding the one you told it to go find, and you're going to refresh and it's going to update. So you can't use that. I can't use that to go say, okay, well, so something about my refresh tasks has to be the one to go build the tasks, and it's going to have to work accordingly, because sometimes things aren't going to, you know, be in line with that. So this is good for at least checking to see if the things aren't where they're supposed to be. And then we just need to go find out, all right, well, we have find ClickUp anchor. And I'm going to hit Control Save here. And we're going to say down here in the task pane, and if the corresponding anchor tag is not there, call the aforementioned refresh task references. Rather than check for line count change, perhaps we just add a validate references function that checks the range.line value of each task reference in the task pane. Is that checks that that function that checks the range dot line value of each task by using the find ClickUp anchor function. And oops. And if the corresponding anchor tag is not there, call the aforementioned refresh task references, which I believe will rebuild that. It's supposed to rebuild that. So let's see what happens. Refresh task references, Control F. Oops, no, wrong one. Oop. Refresh. So this goes and refreshes task references, but I'm still trying to figure out how we're triggering. All right, so I have this function. It does its thing. It goes through and finds, but this is just what resets everything, gets everything realigned. But what I haven't found, because that find thing didn't work. I mean, it only finds based on the information it has. It goes and says, hey, is this where I expect it to be? If not, let's update, which is fine. But there's a point. Is there like an on text change? Let's see, maybe that's what it is. Text change. It's not on text change. On document change. Document change. Wait a minute. Text. There's not a change? Where the heck is it? extension, import, extension TS, ClickUp, code lens, private, on did change. Fire change event. Change folder. Fire change event. A lot of things that says fire change event. Text change is not a thing. Text update, not a thing. Frickin' A, man. Where is the change? On did change text document. Alright, let's see what that does. Does that exist? On did change. Okay, that must be one I got rid of. On did change. What am I looking for? Anchor tag. We create it, we type it in, and something fires. I know it fires because as soon as I type it in, it puts it in. All right. Let's see if there's other things. ClickUp. Jeez. ClickUp. Colon. Something that's looking for this ClickUp colon. Execute command, set context. Could not refresh. Inserts a new ClickUp. Where are we? Create anchor tag. Yeah, but there's something that's calling this. Some effect. All right, let's go see what's... Something obviously calls and says create anchor. No, that inserts a new anchor. I don't want to insert a new one. I have one. I found one. So it must be like this thing. Where is this thing being called from? This thing is finding stuff. Update references from markers. Scan a document for ClickUp markers and update reference positions, but something told it to do this. All right, so this is where it's doing it, but this is not where it's being called. Provide code lenses. Refresh from ClickUp. But that's the refresh process. But where's the auto? Provide code lenses. All right, maybe that's this. Something is still looking for this. Ugh. Hey, you know what? I don't even have my chat open. I'm like looking at my screen, keep thinking, nothing changed. And I'm like, it's because there's nothing there to change. It's just my channels. So if anybody's chatting with me, my bad. Okay, I got it up now. I don't think anybody's chatting with me, but I'm just saying, if you're chatting with me, my bad. So I got my chat up now. Silly, silly me. I gotta make a quick change here. Let's see. NPM backend. Nope. CD backend percent NPM dev. Okay. CD front end. Don't know why that didn't work. Failed to load YouTube channel data. Oh, do I have to click this thing? There it goes. All kinds of stuff on there. All right, so I'm going to edit this. I'm going to take this out. And we're going to say ClickupLink. Devlog. VS Code. Extensions. Clickup tools, Clickup, and active mines games. All right. Anyway, I need to also put in I don't know, put in some kind of a what do you call it, image. I don't know, are images all that important for live streams? I don't know, it seems like a lot of people aren't watching live streams. I'm not getting very many people watching. Now I've only got 21 people on this stream that follow me. If you want to see other code I'm doing, I'm working on my game, but I'm doing most of it now lately on my Active Minds Gamer channel, only because I have a lot more followers there and I got more of a head start. 21 followers here is kind of difficult. It's taken me a really long time just to get 21. I've gained almost 20 in the time that I switched back to using it, which was a lot faster. I've gone from 160, 150 to 170 something. So I've gained like almost 20, but a lot faster in like a couple of months versus the time it's taken me to do this on my AM Gamers channel, which I've had since December. It's August now. 8 months later, I've got 20. So it's a lot slower going. So yeah, I'm kind of just using the other channel just because it moves faster. I think it just hits more people. It's not that, this is more centered. If I could get up to a point where this had enough momentum, and maybe eventually I might. It's just really hard for me to not do coding versus doing videos. Some people could just do videos, and I know videos are the way that you need to build your following. You have to make them nice, you have to make them cool and professional, and there's just a lot of guys out there that are good at that. That's their thing. They like to spend time and hours and hours and hours doing the video editing. I just have trouble with that. I need a professional video editor. Maybe I need to learn to just send a video to someone and say, hey, can you do something with this for me, how much would you charge? But the problem is, I have no money. If I could just get, you know, $50 by people supporting me, I would send that $50 to an editor, and then he'd make stuff that would get me $50. I don't know if I wouldn't get me $50 for every video, but if I could just have a couple extra along the way and just be able to invest a little bit into the videos, having somebody who can do that would probably be best. How much am I at? I'm at 90 minutes, by the way, which is over my limit. I'm trying to do 1 hour videos now, so I probably should call it. You've seen that did I get anything fixed? Apparently not. But it's mostly because AI can't do what looks like it should be a simple task. All I'm trying to do is get it to adjust for line numbers. That's what I'm trying to do. Line number changes. And it's not triggering. I'm not sure. I'm going to put a stop here. Let's go here. And let's see if my current stuff works. Yeah. Just to see if my current, if I didn't break anything. First of all, let's see if I can build. All I did was redirect, go use the anchor find. I just changed the name. That's really all I think I did. So it shouldn't make any difference. I don't have it running, do I? No? Abort? What did it do? Oh, I have it here. It's not assigned to type. Where am I? Find ClickUp. Oh, I didn't dump this. Find ClickUp anchor is no longer. Oh. Wait. Just making sure I'm not deleting something I'm not supposed to. Maybe I make sure I didn't. Is this the one I created? Oh no! Let's not break my code, man. Don't delete stuff. All right, so that's the right one. I just got rid of some stuff, and now it's probably not finding. Current line match is not assignable to type line number match. $276. Current line. Current line. Match. Found marker match at line current line. What is the problem? Current line number match is not assignable to. Why? Return current line. Oh, because it has to be specifically the same name? Which is dumb. Document constant line text dot document line at. All right. I don't know why it has to be that way, but if you say so. kind of silly. Your variable has to match the name. It's like, I get it. It's consistency going all the way through. Everybody knows what it is because it's matching everywhere. But other languages don't do that. C#, you create a variable. You can assign it to anything as long as it's the right type. You only have to match the type, not the name. Because in some places it might be exactly what you think it is, right? It's like in a singular format. If you call something, it might be like player. In the root one, you're only dealing with a player. But in the parent, you might be having player might be active player, and then there's all the other players that are in there, or it might be the injured player, or you have to identify it specific as the type of player you're passing in. But when it gets there, it only needs to be a player. You know, maybe you're just adding him to the IR. You don't care what reasoning, what it is, or what identification is, but you're doing this thing. Is, are any of your players injured? And you go, oh yeah, we got set a variable injured player. I'm just making stuff up, but that's basically why your parent would have a different name. Now you have to call it and change it and match the name exactly, which is silly. Or change its type. Maybe you have to, oh, I think it could do something like line colon and then put current line in there. I probably could have done that. So it would be line colon current line. You can identify it that way. I guess that's probably a good way too. I mean, that's the thing is about TypeScript is it's very, you have to declare things. So maybe that's part of why it is. You know, but anyway, let's go see what we did. Shouldn't break anything. We should be good as is. What I'm doing is trying to see if I can find out how it's triggering the creation of a new Clickup tag. I provide code lenses, which is fine. It's not really what I'm looking for. I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to find the code that's actually, when I type in a new Clickup tag, where am I getting that from? It's a lot of provide code lenses here, which I think might actually be a problem. I feel like if you're calling something a bunch of times, is it calling it for each one? Is that what it's doing? Did it finish? Nope. Is it on a timer? That would be interesting. There's a lot of calls to this going on. This is all during startup, or is there actually, like I said, is there a timer of some kind? See, then it vanishes, and then it stops. It's so weird. That's so broken. Oh no, let's go try again. I must have some kind of a timer. Oh, now it's back again. Holy moly. Is it going to do it again? Do I just wait 30 seconds and it's going to... I don't know what's trigger. I don't know what the timer situation is here. Why is this... What is triggering these calls? I don't know if it's going to come back. Try again. Because I hadn't actually put a break on this particular function. And now I'm trying to figure out why, what, when, what is going on that it's causing it to trigger this. If it keeps triggering, that means it's not this, obviously. But what happens if I click over here? Yeah, so things are triggering over here for sure. So provide code lenses does keep firing. It must just do it. Yeah, it's doing it whenever I change over there. So I can't do a test because I won't be able to not trigger this. Every time I switch over to this, it's going to fire this. Just simply... Is there a call stack at all? I can see what's going on above this that's firing. I can't test how, because everything just getting onto this page again is going to fire it. Giving it the focus. But changing lines won't, but I can't test the lines. Or maybe it is doing it, but it isn't doing anything useful with it. This is really weird. This should have been an easy one. That's all I want to do. When this changes, check. Just check to see we're matching. If not, update them. But it's not working. And I can't get back over here without firing this. I can't do it that way. Scanning document for ClickUp markers. So update references for markers is kind of the one I want. But it's whenever... But that doesn't... I don't know how to make this fire. Because this will always be firing. It fires every time you go and give this thing focus. And that's fine. But it's not fine. I don't know how to see other times when it fires. How do I know when it fires otherwise? Gosh dang it. Ah. Alright, so we're here. The only thing I can do is to watch it. See if I can make it fire by... So maybe doing the... since I can't do the see when I do here and go ClickupLink debug, do I have my other one? So since the console, I have to go here. What is the output channel? All right, so I got to build some crap into this. Because none of that works. I'm going to go ClickupLink, ClickUp. It's not ClickUp. I don't know why. It should always be ClickupLink. Because update references debug. We'll do that. No, that's fine. And then doing the same thing, we'll just call output not append. I'll just do Control S. And we'll close this. And we will try to load it again. I can just see if it's scanning. At what point does it scan? And it should print this. So in theory. Or not. Did not start it correctly last time. Ah, I got a bug. And all I did was add an output channel. What the heck? I didn't do anything else. What did I do? Oh, really? Well, at least it told me. It wasn't one of those, I don't know. All right, so let's see. We'll go to output channel here, and we're going to go, as soon as it'll let me. ClickupLink debug. Clickup update references debug. Why does it? Oh, because every time it calls it. Oh god, that's not going to be. It's not going to be cool because it's going to keep creating a new one. I'm going to have 1,000 of these things. Look at that. Did a bunch of times. Alright, so I don't know how to do this. I want to... There's got to be a way. I'm building a request for you, but for now... Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Quick chat, manage computer. Open chat, edit, well, there was a way to open one. Open chat, open inline chat, quick chat. Open a new window. Okay. Fine, we'll hold on to that one. Oops. Okay. How can I create output channels on startup for debugging rather than inside the function? And use what exists. Dude, why so much? Oh, get channel's gonna go get the channel so that it already exists. Oh. Oh, that might work. Which means I can use it anywhere as long as I just tell it the name of the channel. And then we pass the channel. Okay. That's probably a better way. Probably. I could just create a generic one even, and not have. I do kind of like initialize all standard channels used by extension. Should be called during extension activation. I do kind of like the idea of channeling them though, so I can say, well, I'm looking at specifically how this process works or how that process works. And so I can see the benefits. Doesn't really help for the purposes of you or anybody else or me in the event that I'm actually running this, but at least I can see what's happening. All right, so I'm going to run this. Wait, I didn't have this open already, did I? Oh, I did. It's not going to work. Let's try it again. All right, so now that we have output, we should be able to, at some point, I'm gonna have to wait for it to load up. Scanning, all right, there we go. That's good. It's loaded, scanning. This will just tell me how often it's scanning, for one thing, which is good. If I see a bunch of scannings, I'm gonna know it's doing it too much. Because look at all the stuff it's doing. Scan. And I haven't done anything yet. And then it appears, and then it keeps scanning, and it disappears, and it's scanning again. Holy moly. Is it endless scanning? Oh, okay, so something's weird. It doesn't ever stop. Huh. And it never really fixes, which is really weird. Huh. Even though it's, what is it? Why is it not finding them is the question. Now it appears. Found them. And I stay. But again, it's not really updating the references though. So you could see that it's scanning for them, which is not particularly awesome because it's just constantly scanning. I don't know if I like it constantly scanning. But if I do this, we are triggering stuff, but we're not updating the references. See, it still says we're on 27, even though it says it's updating the references. So what is it determining on my get the appropriate regex patterns for this document's language. Add a set to track positions to avoid duplicates, especially in JSX files. Scan for line comment markers, which it's finding. It's just not consistently finding. I don't know why sometimes it finds and sometimes it deletes them. Only at the beginning. It never deletes them later. It's only at the beginning. There's something weird going on at the beginning. Mark this position as seen. Scan for block comment markers if applicable. There's some kind of a stretching out my low back. Oh yeah, there we go. Stop rolling your back. All right, scan for block comment markers if applicable. We're trying to find markers. Any stored reference not seen in the scan is orphaned. Console scan. Scan complete. Found. So whatever it's doing it constantly. And it's not always finding. What is its determination? Scanning document for block comments. Okay, so it's finding them. Found block comment match index blah. Extracted a task ID from block comment. Okay. Start position and position range. Create a unique position key to avoid duplicates. Skip if we've already seen this position or task ID. Skipping duplicate block comment at position. So this could be why we're not building it sometimes. Still feel like there's something inefficient about this. Create an index for each line to ensure last index is reset. I'm curious, does this function update references for markers? Where is this called? It's only called within this. Clickup code lens provider. I'm going to try something. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is going to break it. pretty sure. But inflate any new references that have task IDs but are missing other details. See, this is the provide code lenses. Where is this called? It's only called here. So all this has to happen, and we have to do this. Get filtered references. And where is this called? It's not called anywhere. Nobody gets filtered references. Nobody knows what filters these are. Nobody knows my troubles. Create code lens for reference. What is this one doing? Console.log, blah, blah, blah. final references for lens. All right, so so we're going to save the references. Which we do need. But there's something weird going on. I can't. All right, so do these update in time by the time? Nope, never updates. Only this refresh task references seems to do everything. I don't even know if it does everything. I don't know what's triggering the changes. But if I do this, it does work. Everything gets lined up, but I don't know if that's just because... All right, let's go here. Refresh task preferences. Clear, that's the, oh, we're in clear completed task references. I'm not doing that one. And this is the function. This is what's doing it all. Show progress instance might take a while. Notification, refresh task on ClickUp, progress report, to clean up duplicate references. Use the unified refresh method. Console.log, output log, blah, 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 success. Show progress instances might take a while, refresh task. So really all this is doing, setting up a progress indicator, clean up duplicate references, if that's even doing anything. And then we do a refresh from ClickUp, which just goes out and gets the latest. And then we do a lot of logging. That's just the parameters of it. And this is the call. Okay. Check authentication. Show warning. Refresh task from ClickUp. Execute the refresh. Refresh from ClickUp. So refresh from ClickUp must be doing something too. Call success. Call back if provided. Alright, what does this do? Console.log, get all text documents in the workspace. Yes. Collect active references from all documents by scanning for anchor tags. Track existing references to preserve metadata that might not be in the anchor. Process each document to find ClickUp reference markers. Update references for markers. Use ref position manager to find all active references in this. You know what? I'm really and truly tempted to remove this from where it's currently at, because lens. I think I'm gonna take it out of here. In fact, I might just take all of this out of here. Not do anything here. What will that do? That probably is what puts my code lenses in, though. Because if I'm relying on this, does this... All right. If I take this out, just take this out, might not make this call at all. It may not do anything at startup, but I could always refresh, and that should trigger it, because it will have new active references. But I can force it to happen when I want it to happen, is what I'm thinking. That's my delusion at the moment. All right, then we go here, ref position, get active references, which we have. Collect unique task IDs to refresh. Process only documents with active references. Fetch latest task details. Update the references with fresh data. If this is a subtask, also refresh parent. Update references. I don't know if this is relying on that option though. Alright, I'm taking that out just to see. I have to see what this does. And this proved to be a much harder thing than I expected. Because it's totally not doing what I expected it to. I do like this though, so I'll go ahead and keep this code. This code is adding me some debugging stuff, so we'll keep that. So I gotta stop this. So I'm not gonna call the refresh at the beginning of startup, or at least not in that way. I may call it a different way, but I want to see what this does. So I don't know if I like that constant scanning. You know, just scan, 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 scan. I'd rather it scan on command. Like I can set the intervals or whatever. Right now it just seems like it's constantly doing it. Getting a lot of errors. I don't actually know that's my key problem here though. All right, let's hit refresh on this. So this, where am I? Refresh task reference. Huh. Well, that didn't work. It does give me a clue as to what's happening, though. Um, so that constant refreshing is it moves the visuals here, but it's not updating the task references. So things are slightly different on how things are triggering. By having that there, it does make sure that everything stays together and that it refreshes and puts itself in correctly. It's not necessarily, it doesn't appear to be required to build. I do get some errors for some reason, maybe because I just want to have a little bit more control over when it happens. The constant scanning does keep everybody together, but it's not synchronizing there. And it's, to be fair, even though I commented that out, it's not that it stopped trying to build them. It just, you can see that even if I go here and go, it rebuilds them and puts them back where they're supposed to be, because it builds them based on the line number it thinks they're at. And so I'm getting the build, but because I'm not doing the constant refresh, it's not refreshing the lines, and therefore the lines are staying out of sync. So moving is not, whatever it's doing, it's not refreshing the lines, and that's the problem. And it's obviously not building, it's building based on the references. So these items here, this the breadcrumbs, are built based on these references. So if these aren't, well, that's not even true. It's built based on the current settings of active pointers, which only gets called when that function is called, which has to be called before so that these can be correctly assigned. So it has to believe it knows where these are, which has to be inside of the set, which is created by doing the search for all of these items. So it's keeping up with those and moving them because it was doing the search at every stage, but it's not updating this, which means they're not in sync. So what that means is if I really want this to stay in sync, the constant search, well, a couple things need to happen. One, I need to force trigger this action when I change code, and include update to the references, or I just need to include the update to the references in the auto change. So it's like it'll always be scanning to update and keeping those in sync, but it'll just be constantly scanning, which I feel like is going to be a performance hit to have that always scanning your documents. I mean, it's kind of doing it anyway, but All right, I'm gonna see. Maybe there's a way to change that. Maybe there is a setting somewhere that I can just change it. Like it doesn't need to constantly be scanning. Let's because I'm not terribly fond of that. Was it refresh from ClickUp? I mean, the refresh from ClickUp does the trick, but that only refreshes. Let me try something else before I do this. All right, so we know this gets out of sync, but what if I do a refresh here? That puts them back. And it syncs this. So if I can get it to correctly refresh when I change code, I don't have to be constantly scanning. So I need it to refresh when my line numbers change. Scans, man, is there, I'd rather it not be scanning all the time. All right, well, that's it for now. That's a 2 hours and a half, way longer than I wanted to. Sorry, didn't quite get anything knocked out there because this proved to be more of a thing than I thought.